Welcome to our Thought Leader series on HRDTV. Today, I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Mansoor Soomro, Future of Work researcher, speaker, and senior lecturer at Teesside University. A very warm welcome.
Thank you, Chris. It's a pleasure to be here.
And my first question today, with recent AI and HR tech advancements, how do you champion human-centric approach in HR practices to ensure that organizations not only adapt, but they thrive?
Yeah, fantastic question. So human-centric approach in HR, to me, is about recognizing that employees are not just resources, but they are the core drivers of organization success. And by that, what I mean is that how do we take care of employee well-being in organizations? How do we look at their personal development? How do we look at the diversity and inclusion, which is how do we create a diverse and inclusive workplace? So when we look at those 3 points, which is the employee well-being, personal development, diversity and inclusion, the point in terms of human-centric approach to HR to me is that these employees, the employees that we work with, the teams that we work with, they're not just resources and they are core drivers of organization success. Now, an extension to that, to what you were saying at the start, which is the context of rapid technological advancements and fourth industrial revolution. Beginning of this year, we saw a massive influence of ChatGPT and AI generative tools. So it's a very good question to understand that, how do we lead people in the age of AI? Because certainly it requires a balance between harnessing the potential of AI and maintaining the human elements, which is important then for leadership of the organization and stuff. So just a quick one in terms of we do research about this and then look at the industry trends. And some of the strategies that we think work in this space, leading in the age of AI, there are a few things. So the first one that I have, that I often discuss it with my clients as well, is that how do we embrace AI as a tool? By this, I mean, how do we understand the capabilities and limitations of different AI generative tools that we see? So as an organization, how do you understand it and how do you embrace it? The second one is, how do we foster a learning culture? Because, Chris, certainly coming from the point that we have to encourage continuous learning and development among our teams. And AI is also constantly evolving, but how do we enable our employees to adapt with it? So that would be the second one. After embracing AI as a tool, the second one is, how do we create a learning culture? The third and the most important one that we see when we work with organizations and we partner with them is that how do we clearly define the roles? And by the roles, I mean the roles of AI and humans in our organization. So employees should know how AI enhances their work and where their unique human skills are most valuable. So that would be the third area. And the fourth area that we look at is, when we're talking about leading in the age of AI, is that how do we promote creativity and innovation? Because AI can handle routine tasks, but as you know, humans who excel at creative thinking and innovation, they take the lead. So how do we encourage our team to think outside the box, solve complex problems, and generate new ideas?
And thank you. And back to one of the statements that you were addressing is with your experience managing a diverse team across 500 executives across 10 countries at Siemens. What strategies and practices do you believe are essential for fostering inclusivity and maximizing the potential of multicultural teams?
Thanks, Chris. There could be different strategies, and as we say, different strokes for different folks. So we understand the importance of situational leadership, and certain things work in certain industries and certain sectors better in certain scenarios. But gaining from my experience working with Siemens, what we saw is that the first one is that diversity in recruitment and hiring, it helps big time, right? So actively seeking out candidates with diverse backgrounds and multiple intelligences from my experience, I can see that, that diverse talent pool helped us a lot when we were looking at these operations with Siemens. The second one is, apart from the diverse talent pool in terms of recruitment and hiring, the second one is the inclusive onboarding. So we use a thing called cultural sensitivity training, which is providing cultural sensitivity training to new employees, especially so that they feel more comfortable in the new workplace or when they join our organization, to help us, do that cultural integration faster. The third thing that has worked for me is celebrating diversity. So cultural celebrations, recognizing them and finding small examples in organizations and creating a celebration out of it to celebrate the diverse cultural backgrounds and traditions. I think it helps big time. So to recap, I mean, from my experience, what I gain is that number one is that, we should focus on diverse recruitment, diverse talent pool, which goes for both recruitment and retention. The second one is how can we have more inclusive onboarding, which includes cultural sensitivity training. And the third one is how can we celebrate diversity and find areas in the organization and time in the organization to do that.
Thank you. And in your research, how do you see HR professionals preparing their organizations for the future of work, especially in terms of talent management and development?
Yeah, good question. So, I mean, I cannot say, it goes without saying, in fact, that, certainly we have to stay informed about emerging technologies and industry trends. By that, I also mean we have to identify the skills and competencies that will be in high demand in the future. So that's the first phase that we work on, which is to understand how the future of workforce and workplace will change, which includes the identification of future skills and competencies. In doing so, we do collaborate with industry experts and educational institutions to gain insights. So for organizations, likewise, what I would suggest is that, how can we understand what are the future skills our colleagues, our team members, and our organization will need. So the identification of the future skills, that's a key element. Once we know that, and again, it's going to be a changing goalpost because it will keep on changing. But once we have identified, even for a certain period of time, how do we develop a comprehensive talent strategy around it? So, for example, we identified that future skill is how to use AI generative tools. Let's say that's one of the skills that we have identified. Now, the second thing would be then that how do we develop a comprehensive talent strategy around it, which is aligning the talent management strategy with the organization's long-term goals and future needs. By doing that, what we've seen is that it also helps if we consider the demographics of our workplace, and especially the generation. So we have different organizations, we have different generations in organizations at play. So Generation Z, Generation X, Y, baby boomers, and millennials. And this is a good area when we are talking about identifying future skills, that how do we map it with the existing generations that we have in the workplace, and how can we take it further from there, which in turn will help us in terms of creating an organization which is going to be agile and which will foster based on a culture of innovation and experimentation.
Thank you. My next question is, given your insights on bridging the gap between technology and people, what advice would you offer HR professionals to ensure that technological integrations in the workplace enhance rather than hinder employee engagement and well-being?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a loaded question and a very relevant one. So, when we talk about technology integration, right? So, in simple terms, we are talking about aligning technology with people goals, which is how can we ensure technology solution align with the goals and roles of employees, making their work more efficient and meaningful. So certainly this is an area of change management, implementing a change management plan to help employees adapt to new technologies, and also to communicate the benefits and goals of technology integration to employees, and to address their concerns and provide support during their transition. what we have seen through research and the work that we do with the organizations is that user-centric design works very well, which is if we prioritize user-friendly technology solutions that are intuitive and easy to use. I mean, that's a good way to start. Also, we have seen that involving employees in the design as well as in the feedback process to create technology that meets their needs, that helps a lot, right? So, in terms of the technology that you're adapting to use. Back to your question, how can we bridge this, and especially in the age of technology that we're talking about? You mentioned about the fourth industrial revolution. You mentioned about AI and the technological innovation that we see at workplace. So how can we bridge the gap between technology and the human element, which is our employees and the workforce? So if we think about that, the pressing need that I see is there's the need of strategic leadership, which involves that how do we leverage AI to enhance our strategic decision making. Certainly, AI can provide data-driven insights to inform our choices, but how can we make better informed decisions by leveraging AI, and what impact does it have on strategic leadership? So that's going to be one area which will help us bridge that. The second would be the speed of change, right? So the age of AI, as we are seeing, it is driven by rapid change. So how can we be more flexible and open to change and lead by example in adapting to new technologies and work processes, and how to have an open mind and open culture in organizations to work towards it?
It's an absolutely fascinating subject. It's been an absolute pleasure. Great speaking with you, and thank you.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you, Chris.
And thank you for watching HRD TV.